Okay, here we are back again with my Dishonored playthrough and lore discussion. This time with the first Daud DLC, The Knife of Dunwall. I finished my playthrough of the base game way back in the ancient past of a couple of months ago. So now we're getting into the DLC. And the goal for this playthrough is it's going to be a mostly non-lethal, low chaos playthrough. Mostly, not entirely non-lethal. And I'm going to take the opportunity to talk about some of the lore and backstory of the world and some of the characters when I can, and also read all the books. So this is the opposite of a speedrun. Okay, let's get started. And just for fun, let's do Master Assassin. Why not? You like to watch me die, I'm sure. Dunwall Tower. None like her. You can't forget what you've done. Killing the Empress and handing her daughter Emily to the Lord Regent haunts you.
One more job shouldn't have mattered.
Michael Madsen, of course.
I'd killed nobles before. You could float a whaling ship, and the highborn blood I've spilled.
Such a perfect voice for this character.
Another noble steps in to replace the last one. All equally corrupt.
Apparently there's a glitch in the console game for the first game where you can come back here before the game starts and sort of break it and stop the attack. Haven't been able to do it on PC though.
Bodyguard's face as they took him away. Dead eyes. I knew I'd pay for this one. Maybe I deserved to. A storm was coming that would shake apart everything I'd built.
No! Get away from her! Corvo! Help me!
And here we are in the void. Or the dream projection of the void. I get the sense that Daud hasn't spoken with the outsider for quite a while until this happened. Note, same as the first game. All work and no play makes Daud a dull boy. Using a slightly different audio setup here, so if it's bad, that's why. I'll just have to see how it works out in the final video. Headset is not going to work. Right, so we got a new blink. It's the one where it freezes time. Well, okay. If you jump and hit blink, it freezes time until you release it, which is a pretty useful upgrade. And I think the beta canon is that Daud has more experience using blink, so he can do that. And that's why it's an optional upgrade in the second game for Corvo. Yeah, like that. So you can redirect while you're in the air.
Daud, my old friend. It's been a long while, but you've got my interest again. How the years pass and the bodies fall. Did you know that there are only 8 like you in the world, bearing my mark? I'm here because you're right. The Empress was...
Of course, we only know a few of those. Granny Rags, Corvo,
you can't just
Delilah.
fade away into the shadows. There will be consequences.
But we don't know all of them.
Your story is close to ending, and even you can't escape it. But what ending will you make for yourself? I'm here to give you one last gift, Daud. It's a mystery. One that starts with a name. Delilah.
Rothwild Slaughterhouse. A captain of industry, Bundry Rothwild is a ruthless businessman who owns a slaughterhouse and a fleet of whaling ships, including a ship named called the Delilah. Infiltrate the Rothwild Slaughterhouse and find out what's behind the name.
For 6 months, the city writhed and changed. For 6 months, I tried to forget what I'd done to the Empress and her little girl. But there was no forgetting. I needed to find my next move. But all I had was that name. Delilah. Who was she? A threat? Or an ally? Word came from my second-in-command, Billy Lurk. In a house built on secrets, Lurk was especially good at uncovering them. There was a ship called the Delilah. It hunted whales for Bundry Rothwild. A former deckhand who'd made good. Now he owned a slaughterhouse, and he ran his workers like a prison gang. A ship named Delilah. It could be a coincidence, but it's not. In Dunwall, things are always tangled up like a bag of snakes.
So it's established that Daud knows about the Brigmore witches by this point, but he doesn't know Delilah specifically, which is interesting. So it could be that the witches were pre-existing, and then Delilah kind of used her powers to take over. Alright, let's get safe code and stolen room, because I would like to upgrade. You probably know already. Agility and Blink 2 and Blink 2. Sleep darts. Get one of these. And of course the lonely rat boy was one of the marked, but he should be dead by this time in the game.
Daud, you're here. I got bored, so I started without you. Turns out we're here on the perfect day. There's a strike at the plant, and it's no wonder. Rothwild runs this place like a prison. The stupid workers can't even get in without a time card. When the strike started, the butchers confiscated all the cards they could find. They've given the City Watch free rein to use force. If you ever wondered why I wanted out of the slums, here's your answer. There'll be other ways in, I'm sure of it. You don't mind if I tag along, right? Just to keep an old man safe. One last thing. I found something for you. I know you collect these. I'll be on the rooftops till you need me.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade agility now. We can get the high jump. It's not a double jump like in the first game. It's a single smooth jump, but it's a much higher jump. Very useful when carrying bodies. Yeah, there we go.
Give me back my time card. I can't get back in. You had no right to take it.
Try and get past me, and I'll see you swinging from a meat hook.
Go home, mister. Orders are to confiscate those cards. No exceptions.
I hope you die weeping. All of you. I hope the plague gets you.
Let's go talk to this guy. So this is Slaughterhouse Row.
It's no use asking me anything. They've got my time card. I can't even get in to pick up my things. Anyone who knows anything's locked up down by the docks. I should have been with him. How am I gonna get into work without my time card? I used to have friends among the butchers. What happened to this place?
So Slaughterhouse Row, if you find it on the an updated map of Dunwall, it's far to the left, and if the Wrenhaven runs west to east, so it's far to the west, pretty far upriver. And the reason for that is because of all the smells and the waste are kind of offensive to the rich and, well, most people. so it's pretty far upriver to stay away from it. But of course, the city grew around it as the city grew, and the whaling industry grew. The slaughterhouse was not just whales. Ooh, oops. I was trying to kill the rats so they didn't eat them, and I didn't get... Alright, let's try that again. Try that again. It also included other animals, like oxen. It was used for, not just meat, but leather and grease. But once Roseburrow's process for refining whale oil came about, the place just exploded in size. So there are a bunch of different slaughterhouses, including there's a Greaves slaughterhouse, or it's an auxiliary refinery. It's not working at this point, but there are multiple slaughterhouses along Slaughterhouse Row.
Should we gather for whiskey and cigars tonight? Indeed.
And in the older days, they would basically just take the blubber and ship it off to a refinery like the Greaves refinery, which is at the other end of the city, by the way. It's, far at the east end of the city, so quite a distance. But then they figured out how to extract more of the oil on site while the whale was still alive. So now the slaughterhouses, at least the Rothwild slaughterhouse, does a lot of the refining on site. So it's both a slaughterhouse and a refinery. And I mentioned in past videos that the government, the parliament here, there's no House of Commons, so there really is no representation for the common people. So what we see here with the labor strike, I mean, that's basically the only thing they can do. To look after any part of their own interests. Okay, rat poison. We need to rid the sewer of the rat infestation. Make sure you set this crate of potted meat aside so we can lace it with rat poison. After it is poisoned, take it down to the dock so we can get it into the sewers below. Captain Galloway. Can't imagine why you'd have a rat problem. You just have guts going everywhere. Okay, some of the books coming up are, I don't know, quite long as far as the lore goes, so good bit of reading, I'm afraid. Oh. Well, that's why I got the increased sleep dart capacity. Here we see a wanted poster for Corvo. So we know that this takes place after he's escaped from Coleridge. Right. Meat, Death, Bones, and Song. Excerpt from a butcher's journal. Leona looks worried when I come home at night. She's looking for that spark, our love, the life we had just 2 years ago, all our ambitions. But the more she pulls at me, the more I resent her, the more I bury all that. When her father was killed at the carriage station, I gave up my studies at the Academy of Natural Philosophy. So mismanaged were their finances, with so many debts and arrears, that her mother and younger brothers would have been ruined had I not. My work feeds us all and keeps the rent paid to that shriveled old leech, Wainwright. I hate this work, but in the time of plague, it takes all of one's efforts to stay afloat of the desperation, the blood, and the rats. There are bribes that must be paid to the Lord Regent's City Watch and Barrister Arnold Timsh's dead counters. Offend the wrong bureaucrat, and your home is seized, and you're off to the flooded district, so it falls to me. Every day I drive my screaming saw into the beasts, eyes wide open. I studied them for years at the academy and on my trips into the field. Now, working in the slaughterhouse, The wrongness is like a wound in my head. The first months, I worked in a numb state. Then my predominant mood was anger. Now the wound is scabbing over, and on some days I feel a kind of power. My entire existence is meat. All there is in my mind is meat, death, bones, and song. The terrifying bones. They come to me in my sleep now. I look into the great eyes. I take away life slowly. There's a kind of deep connection with the beast, knowing I'll be coming back again and again, removing pieces for hours, sometimes days. They sing for us, a funeral lament that causes me to tremble. Leona and I still share a bed, but the more she tries to make me feel something, the more I recede. The person I was is dead now. That's a long one. So, yeah, this is the unexpectedly cogent narrative of a butcher who was a student at the academy, but had to take a butcher's job to make some money, and he is not fond of the work, clearly. Right, so there's a bone charm nearby. It's actually downstairs. And presumably this is the butcher that we just read about, his diary entry. So you see a lot of property marked as property of the City Watch. So they just come in and take everything. Some of these places. Alright, so there's a arc pylon and pretty crew. And you can rewire it, or you can blink out there really fast and yank out that canister of oil. Alright, see if I can do this. It's actually not that hard. Yeah. And nobody saw me. Good. And since I'm here, and because I've done this several times, I'm going to take this chance right now to grab this Weeper corpse over here. Hemlock. To use in Granny's recipe for a free rune. So you don't have to come back and do it again. If you don't have agility, that I just got, jumping when carrying a body is much more difficult. I mean, it's more realistic than in the first game.
There's a man out on the river watching the place. If I weren't so young and pure of heart, I'd suggest he's up to no good.
Work at industries deemed vital to state interests has been declared treasonous by the Lord Regent.
I always thought it was a little bit lazy, the model for Billy. I mean, it's basically just a standard assassin model, so she's got excessively wide shoulders for a woman. All right, so let's lay the Weeper to rest on the blood-etched floor. So that's part of the recipe, and here's the rest of it. Granny's recipe, page torn from an old manuscript written in a squirreling hand. The port side eye of whale, newly dead. Plop it in the pot, grisly and red. Weeper, weeper, weeps no more, laid to rest on blood-etched floor. Do this for me, dearie, and I'll give you a birthday treat. Granny. I'm not really good at the Granny voice, but whatever.
They used to tell stories about a woman in the slums who did work like this. Granny Rags. They said she was 100 years old.
She's actually only 70. We established, kind of from the lore in the first game, she's only 70, but, extended contact with the Void and the Outsider seems to age you prematurely, which might be what happens to Daud in, Death of the Outsider. Because he should only be 60-ish in that game. So there, you can see you jump, redirect the blink while you're in the air, and you can actually extend your range quite a bit. So I'm going to check out this guy. So there's a side mission to free some laborers, but we have to clear the way and then turn off that wall of light. So we got to get rid of these guys first. I'm going to try and conserve my sleep darts. So, see if this guy will turn around or something.
In any industry deemed vital to the state is a capital offense. These include metallurgy, whale collection and refinement, security services, and selective legal and clerical specializations. Consult the city barrister for clarification and enforcement.
Come on, turn around. All right. Well, I can probably blink behind him here. That'll set off the alarm. I don't know if that sound alerts other guards, though. It might not.
You've had your... When does the oil start to flow again?
So you see those big towers out the front of the
So you know the Regent doesn't give a shit.
slaughterhouse for the refined oil.
The Regent cares about the whale oil coming out on schedule.
He'll get what he needs. Just keep the strikers in line.
So even without the strong arms, I think Daud's choke is faster. Alright, Slaughterhouse Road, excerpt from a book on Dunwall city districts. For more than 2 decades, a small number of slaughterhouses sat along the Wrenhaven, out away from the finer quarters of Dunwall due to the blood, rats, and stench associated with processing meat. Independent whaling ships brought in the occasional Leviathan barges, delivered herds of blood oxen. An individual slaughterhouse might fold due to mismanagement, but the number stayed roughly the same, producing the meat, leather, and grease byproducts needed across the capital city. Only when the Roseberry, that's a typo, it should be Roseboro processing treatment was discovered, did the whaling trade begin to rise in prominence, driven by the many new uses for the much more volatile refined whale oil, including military and security uses. Early into Empress Jessamine Caldwell's brief reign, the well-known inventor and natural philosopher Anton Sokolov introduced a series of devices that would begin to see deployment across Dunwall, directed by the Royal Spy Master Hiram Burrows. With this lucrative turn of events, the number of slaughterhouses quadrupled and the demand for fresh whales increased proportionately. Many districts immediately adjacent to what was suddenly known as Slaughterhouse Row began to change as families moved away to avoid the industrial fumes and awful runoff produced by the processing plants. Crime grew overnight, forcing the City Watch to redouble its efforts against Dunwall's gangs. So we're actually going to learn about the dead eels in this game, although we won't encounter them until Brigmore Witches.
After this morning, we're taking away time cards on site. Nobody gets in or out without those things. Time to send a message.
Right, there's a safe whose code we need, and safe goes over there. And because we bought the favor, if you don't buy the favor, there's another way to get it. I'll talk about it briefly when we get there. Let's talk to this guy.
You're Daud.
Daud. Shit, I hope you ain't here for me. I'm just a little fish in a big pond.
I want to know about a ship. The Delilah.
Yeah, I heard of it. Listen, maybe we can help each other out. I work for a very rich man who's keen on seeing Rothwild's business go belly up. This whole business with the strike, our doing. We got a mole on the inside, lady pretending to run the labor crews, a real talent. She could lie straight to the High Overseer's face and get away with it. We were supposed to meet up last night. I've been spying on the place all day waiting to hear word. Only I haven't seen or heard a peep. I was about to shove off. If you're here to make a little mayhem anyway, maybe you could find her. If she's still alive, she'd be able to get you everything you need to know about that ship. No question. And a substantial reward besides. Her name's Abigail Ames.
Alright, so one more guard, and we gotta take down that wall of light. No, wait for him to come over here. So Rothwild actually has a whole fleet of ships, and his flagship is actually called Bundry Best, so he named it after himself. Not a humble guy. Oops. Is that guy still alive? Yes. These bidirectional doors are convenient, but they don't make a whole lot of sense. Alright, take that out. And the workers are kind of imprisoned down below, but I want to clear this yard first, because he's...
This is a public warning.
Ooh.
Corvo Atana, the assassin and one-time royal protector, has escaped from confinement and is at large within the city. Any sightings of this state criminal must be reported to the City Watch at once.
It's a lot easier to move around to get rid of these guys.
Arc mines. The latest thing from Sokolov's twisted mind. We're the first ones to get them.
How do they work?
Well, obviously you... Actually, I'm not sure.
Let's lay a few out. Stryker's gotta hit one sooner or later.
This room can be deceptively tricky. The guards like to come in and out. You can't always see when they do. And they turn around a lot, so you gotta kind of be a little bit more careful than you otherwise might. Boat checks on the Wrenhaven. Letter accepted from a book on members of the City Watch signed to the Wrenhaven River. Dearest Rutherford, your latest writing brought me a mix of sadness and delight. I was sorry to hear of the passing of your friend Corcoran from Morley. He was undoubtedly a good man and a worthy ally in your work with the City Watch in Dunwall. I know that the river patrol is a difficult assignment, especially during these times, but it's important work. So given all that you've told me, I can only assume Corcoran was as brave as you are, my younger brother. It saddens me that such a vile organization as the Dead Eels even exists outside the realm of those lurid Gothic novels we read as schoolchildren. That you and your men should have to face them out on the waters of the Wrenhaven is just terrifying. Boats must be checked, I know. But if you should be harmed while ensuring some Tibian fur trader is carrying the correct tax papers, I will never forgive this new Lord Regent and his flurry of laws. You talked of adventure when you signed on, and danger seems to excite you, but you'll forgive me if I hope to see your patrol transferred further west, near to Caldwin's Bridge, where the military presence is stronger and the smuggling gangs fear to ply their wicked trade. I've gathered this much from the newspapers, but perhaps there's nowhere safe in Dunwall right now, certainly along the river. It pains me to imagine the customs crew at the checkpoints near your patrol being so short-handed. My mind reels at the thought of how anything else can take priority over my brother's life. I tell you, what I wouldn't give to be in charge of allocating the security details. You'd have 100 men at your call, but I know that is impractical. Please write again when you can. All of us look forward to your words, and I often share them after dinner with our friends and those visiting us here in Driscoll. May our next letter bring... may our next letter bring news of the eradication or imprisonment of Lizzie Stride and her accursed dead eels. Stay safe and remember us always. Your sister, Pearl. Okay, so here's the first instance of the talking about the dead eels. And yeah, I feel like some of the texts in this game are like left over from the first game and they had to cut because it was too long and just not necessarily totally relevant. Arcmine Shipment.
Mr. Rothwild, I have great appreciation for the use of your space and your whales in the advance of my studies. All of Dunwall will be in your debt for your contribution to my work. In light of your recent difficulties, I have prepared for you a gift of my latest defensive technology, the Arcmine. It is based on my Arc Pylon, and will provide superb protection against the intruders and those who would interfere with our efforts. I am certain the device will serve you well.
Anton Sokolov. Can't quite get as guttural as Sokolov's actual voice actor, but that's why I'm not a voice actor. What do you want? All right, so the safe code is behind this board. You got to break it. I've seen some people 247. I've seen some players somehow they think that the code is actually past the wall inside the building, but I don't think that's how markers work in this game with the different loading cells. All right, so this that pylon there is the whale oil is protected by this control box with a key, and this guy's got the key, so we gotta choke him out first. There's the key, and we can open this and disable the pylon. Pooner Songs did that in the first one. And not sure how I want to. One disadvantage of this layout is that if you take down one of those guys, the others tend to see it. So let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, there you go. This is why it's a good idea to take them out before you do anything else.
I'll find you eventually.
Oh, they both have the key, okay. And I think there's just one more guard. So I might as well take care of him first.
Missing or damaged time cards will no longer be replaced due to abuse of this indulgence. Any worker without a time card will be denied admission to the ground and summarily terminated.
Do they mean terminated as in fired, or something else? So you see some refined whale oil kind of leaking there. So with the workers all locked up, they can't really do a lot of the maintenance to keep this place running. That's might be why you see all this leaking equipment. But here are a couple of the workers locked up. And one of them has a time card.
They won't let you in without a time card. But if you get us out of here, you can take mine. I'm not coming back. Open the gate, please. We still need to get past that wall of light contraption they put up. If you can shut it off, we can slip past the city watch when the time is right.
Already done.
Is the wall of light down?
Yes, it is.
You're free to go. Make your way out of this place.
Here's the card, sir. I hope you burn this place to the ground. If you see a woman named Abigail Ames, she'll know what to do. She's a smart cookie.
City's dead. We won't make it 3 more months.
Best luck, sir. You're one of the good ones.
He doesn't know me too well, does he?
Solidarity. That's what Abigail keeps saying. But I don't know what I'll do if Rothwild puts me in that damn chair. Rothwild can't do without us. No workers, no profit. 3 men killed on the job just in the last month. We were right to do this, whatever happens.
Okay. And you can actually see, if you can blink, you can get over this from up here and actually just pocket the card from the guy without letting him go. So you can do that as well. There's also a time card in the safe that we're gonna open here in a bit. So there are a couple of ways to get in. Once you have a time card, you can go right in the front door here.
Abigail Haynes has been detained on the Slaughterhouse grounds, pending her interrogation and execution for sedition and treason.
There's the time card slots. The arc mine. Oh, good. Another Sokolov thing.
My experiments continue with what I've been calling the arc mine. Initially, I began the work out of idle curiosity. Waking from a nap in the middle of the afternoon during the month of cleanse, I wondered whether it might be possible to separate a flat disc filled with refined whale oil from an array of very short striking rods, until such time as sufficient weight be applied to the upper side of the device. After turning to pragmatic considerations, I imagined the arc mine might be used to incinerate some unfortunate member of enemy forces, approaching, say, a military encampment. After early tests on livestock proved successful, I requested a live human subject, already scheduled for execution for crimes that were, I assure you, most dire. Burroughs was more than happy to comply, assuming he could witness the demonstration. He brought a prisoner from Coleridge, someone named Vaughn, I believe, and we turned him loose in the test area blindfolded, stumbling about until triggering the device. Burroughs was most pleased, not only because of the arc mine's effectiveness as a lethal deterrent, but also because of its potential psychological impacts on enemy forces. Further, it left no gore or other mess, and Burroughs is a strong supporter of anything clean and tidy. Lovely and terrifying, with nothing left to wipe up. Those were his exact words. I've left notes to myself assuming I pick up the project again, because there may be a way to produce a version of the arc mine that is entirely harmless, simply rendering the subject unconscious. Much more testing is required. Alright, so we'll encounter the non-lethal arc mines, or stun mines, I believe in the next DLC. Okay, so that's one way in. There are two other ways. At least that I know of. And one is down here, through the sewer. So they talked about needing to poison some meat to get rid of the rat infestation in the sewer, and... Wait, hold on, I forgot to pull this lever here. Warning, do not use during high tides. And let's see, we got some rats in there, so if we can blink past them, there's a bone charm. Ow! And there's the second entrance that will take you into the sort of outflow ducts, where they dump all the guts and unuseful parts of the whale, which apparently leads to hagfish meat from this area being particularly well desired and tasty.
Interfere with or free captive livestock will be charged with treason.
Captive livestock. I assume they mean the whales, not cattle. And there should be two more butchers down here. That was a waste. I should have choked him out. There's the other one. If you don't get the save code favor, you can still get the save code. Down here, there's a... somewhere around here, there's a corpse. I think it's right underneath the boat there. There's a kind of a mangled corpse of a guy named Jack. and there's a note next to him with a safe code. And apparently Jack was a Slaughterhouse worker, but he also, for some reason, was also in charge of the safe code for the the city watch's safe up there. Don't know why he was. Maybe he needed extra job, but anyway, he had the safe code, so there's another way of getting it. Okay. Let's see. Where's the code? It's not written down in my... Oh, for... It should be here. Alright, well, what was it? It was like 247? Yeah, alright. Alright, so we got a blueprint, some loot, and the time card. So now we have 2 time cards. So we see that Sokolov basically has free reign of this place to use as a test bed for his devices. Mostly because they don't mind incinerating workers. Alright, so the final way of getting in, you gotta power up this... there's a crane over here. Depleted tanks. Frank, I told you to have this thing replenished with a full tank at all times. We have a shipment coming in soon, and this crane better be working by the time it arrives, or someone will be demoted to sewer cleanup. Kanan. So I guess this crane, they used to hoist whales. It must be smaller whales, because it's a small opening up there, but they hoist them up through this opening at the top, and then use these sort of system of cranes and tracks to deliver it to the killing floor. And then so you can climb this chain and get up there into that opening. But if you have agility, you know I do, you can actually blink up there. You get on this bar here, up and on top. And this hatch you can open and go into the first part of the slaughterhouse from above, which is always good. Yeah, I already read that. Okay.
Rothwild's got a stubborn reputation. I doubt asking nicely is going to work. We'll have to find a more persuasive means of getting what you want out of him. He's probably close to his office. We should start there.
Actually, we're going to end there. It's best to clear out the place first. Oh! Well, there you go. You get to see me die. Let's try that again.
Rothwild's got a stubborn reputation.
There you go.
I doubt asking nicely.
And if you come up into this little alcove here, you've got a dead worker and a rune. Written in blood. You are safe now. No one can find you here. No one. No one can reach you here. I almost died trying, and I'm a better climber than any of them. But you gave me claws for the climb. You want me as much as I want you. We will stay here until they have forgotten about us. We will stay here for as long as it takes. I feel like sleeping. Don't leave while I sleep, because I need you. I will stay as long as I can. Forever. And there's an alternate way here of going from one section to the other.
Daud, I spotted a makeshift interrogation room in the meat locker. It might be useful to you, considering our mission here.
Yeah, you can't leave this area without her saying that. It gets kind of annoying. But first, let's come over here. Now, if you go in the front door, or if you go down to that ground level, there's a scripted event of a worker being killed by one of the butchers. But if you're careful, you could prevent it. And it's useful to have a choke dust container.
Yes, but I signed right away. Rothwild didn't even have to turn it on.
Oh.
Rothwild says he trussed up 3 whales in one day when
All right.
What do you say?
Let me try that one more time. Oh, that's not where I want to be.
He's probably close to his office. We should start
There we go.
there.
All right. There we go. Ah. Few things make me feel like a loser than messing with a sleep dart. Anyway. Okay, so that's how you can keep the worker from being sawed up by the butchers. It's not like a special action or anything. You don't get anything for it. It's just something you can do. If you want.
Rothwild has a chair in the meat locker. He uses it to control the workers there. It's you, isn't it? Thank you, I think.
They really want you to know about this chair. Okay, and there's one more little bit of information up here in this little mezzanine.
Marked for shipment to the most distant point of the Empire. And fitted for live cargo, too. Survivable, if they had a fast ship. I wonder who this was meant for. You box somebody up in that thing and they won't be back in town for months.
So Samara is... I don't know if it's the farthest point, but it's pretty far. It's almost pretty far. And in case you haven't figured it out, the box is meant for Ames. Abigail Ames. He was going to put her in there. Although I don't know why you would do that instead of just... You might as well just kill her, because... Next ship in 4 days, report employee infractions to the management office.
So, what do those idiots want anyway?
Well, they think they don't get treated fairly, because they can get fired for refusing to do dangerous work.
What? What dangerous work? We're the ones that do the dirty stuff around here. Maybe we need to be organizing, huh?
Hey, that's not funny. You say that again, even as a joke, and you're whale meat.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying.
Stop listening in on that Abigail Ames tricky talk. She'll corrupt you.
No. My head's clear. I know which side my bread's buttered on. I'll be glad when we get the order to get rid of her. It's only a matter of time.
So we see the racks for moving meat around there. cuts of whale meat. It's much easier to move around again when you don't have all these enemies to deal with. Daud must have really long arms if he can reach around past that that backpack of whale oil tanks to choke these guys. Whale vivisection was in the first game. The 8th stricture. Don't piss off the butchers. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Anton Sokolov's lab journal.
Vivisection of the 3rd live specimen is almost complete. Careful perforation of the lower diaphragm has brought me closer to observing secretion of the oil, but the process retains its mystery. The creature has weakened considerably since its capture, and its output is quite low. I've attached electrical stimulators to the beast. A mild current increases output by 20% to the considerable complaint of the whale, I might add. Increasing the voltage will likely kill the creature, so further exploration will have to work on a stronger specimen. For now, the music continues.
All full of mines. Very little meat in this meat locker.
I know what this is. A makeshift interrogation chair.
Nothing gets by you, Billy.
To coerce employees.
Yeah. Alright, and worker signatures. I, the undersigned, agree to renounce any association with any employee union, to abstain from discussing such matters at any time, and to promptly report any co-workers that encourage union views. I agree that all grievances will be taken up with Bunbury Rothwild and his staff in an open and fair manner. Gerald Harper, Richard Moser, J.A. Manderley, Sylvia Proctor, Lawrence Spinner, and Maddie Cranston. It's almost like working at Walmart. And if you come down here, this leads to a couple of different places. So here's the rune that we got in our favors. And this actually goes to the next section close to the office. But I'm not going to go that way quite yet until I get rid of the butchers. Because you might come up through the floor and you come face to face with the butchers. So.
They're armored in front, but not so tough in back.
A couple of these rooms are the collectively called the killing floor, where they slaughter and do various stages of the butchery, harvesting the meat and the blubber. Nope. Ah.
Die, hagfish. Eat this.
Leg shots are good because there was those saws give them some protection in the front, kind of like the overseers with the music boxes. Employees working during the strike will be awarded salary times 1.5 per day. What's that say? Show pride in your work and support your employer in this times. Loyalty is prized above all else. Some things never change. Do not interfere with Anton Sokolov when he's on the premises. All workers must register for lecture rations at the management office. Production record, month of clans, but we can do better. Operating butcher's saw, excerpt from a company pamphlet. First, as a reminder, all equipment within the Rothwild slaughterhouse is the sole property of Mr. Bundry Rothwild himself, leased to an individual worker on a per-shift basis. A butcher's saw is not to be equipped and used without proper training and authorization. Misuse of the equipment could result in disfigurement or death. The saw itself is composed of 3 systems: power supply, cutting blade, and chip ejector. The reciprocating blade is cast of hardened steel and, when properly maintained, provides severe sharpness. It is crafted to slice flesh, but will cut bones with ease. The mechanism for powering the blade is a harness supporting custom-sized tanks for whale oil, capable of driving the saw for an entire shift before refueling is required. Care must be taken not to strike, heat, or electrify these tanks. The ejector is a new modification, casting out a stream of flat blade fragments. Since the girth of a whale often exceeds a butcher's reach, the ejector allows for blasting away unwanted offal or breaking down dense bone at a distance. And apparently, I assume can also be used against us. There's a bone charm nearby. Oh, it's not in the toilet. That's in the next DLC. It is up here. Fleet Fighter. Let's equip some of these. Might as well. Here's the map, and see where we are, the washroom, and then up above is the canteen, and just ahead of us where we were is that part of the killing floor, which is odd because they kill the whale in this next room over here, slowly, but let me check up there. I don't know if there's any loot up there, but this guy out first. So you can imagine if one bottle of refined oil's worth 30 coin, you can imagine how much money must be coming through this place in a day. That's where they boil the bits. I'm gonna salvage some of this equipment for a little bit of coin. And some grenades. Explosive solution. Luca, we grabbed these from some sleeping overseers. Next whale carcass that needs carving, try planting these deep in it first. They ought to tenderize things real nice. Even if they don't, it'll be fun. Mind that you don't blow yourself up, though. It's too bad he can't use that butcher saw against them. I'm not sure how he'd carry it though, so. Canteen. An industrious worker is a happy worker. Alright, prices. No haggling, no spitting on the floor. If you puke on the premises, you won't be invited back for a week. That's fair enough. Menu. Salted potatoes, zirconium spices, mushroom bread, 4 coins. Eel stew. Fresh eel, none of that canned. Onions and turnips. Duchess's knuckles, blood ox knee joints, sliced thin and fried. 6 coins. Eel stew, extra fishy bits. Gazelle shank. Cooked 4 hours, slow. 8 coins. That all actually sounds pretty good. I wouldn't mind some of that. I mean, I'm sure it's not probably wouldn't pass FDA standards, but conceptually it doesn't sound so bad, especially if you're doing manual labor. And same text as before. Okay. All right, let's go see the whale. Just let me check up here first. Nothing? Really? That's disappointing. Alright. Come down here and... so there's a way up from the sewer. And there's our whale.
The power system in there looks like it will put down that whale in an instant. I almost think you should. I know they're just beasts, but still.
And where you can get into the offices, the door is locked from the outside the normal way. Although you can break the window and blink in. I think this guy sees us. Oh, yeah. I am very low on sleep darts. I have one. Okay, well. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I deserve that. Alright, let's try again. I may be messing up my non-lethal stats. Which is why I said mostly non-lethal. See if this guy goes away. There should be three or four butchers in this room.
Think this...
Can I get on top of this? I guess not. Great, here comes this guy. Well, there's that ejector function. I mean, if it's shooting bits of the blade at me, you'd think it would eventually become useless. Ah, can't get behind him. Alright, I've lost patience with this guy. Apparently a lot of these butchers were, as opposed to the other regular workers, the butchers were kind of, they came up with Rothwild himself, kind of all in the same crew together, so that's why they're particularly loyal to him. Or it might just be that no one else will hire them. And here we can see where the, I don't know if that's raw oil or just plain viscera. So they use all parts of the whale for something. Most of the parts of the whale. I mean, obviously not the parts they drain out, but many parts of the whale are used for something, so there are different sections that they use to extract different parts from the whale, so... but we can put the whale out of its misery. We need 2 tanks. Oh, here's a rune. Mysterious object. Anton. This thing was found in the belly of catch number 184 when we were processing it. I've seen plenty of weird things in a whale's gut, but never one of these. Must have consumed it in the deep, and I think it's been there quite a while. Don't ask me how I can tell. If you have any ideas what this may be, please inform me. One of these was recovered back in the month of wind, but I haven't seen it or the man that found it since then. BR. Oh, that might be Rothwild who wrote that. Well, I don't think I can do a Rothwild voice. But we do need 2 tanks. There are multiple tanks laying around, but then there's also the tank dispenser over there if you run out for some reason, or if you use them to blow up the butchers. Electrocuting whale.
I've set up this device to stimulate the whale's nervous system, with the intention that doing so will prolong oil secretions and squeeze more of the precious fluid from each catch. Unfortunately, this device can lead to the instant death of the beast if too much power is used. Filling both tanks and activating the device extinguishes all life function in an instant. A painless and quick experience for the whale, but at the loss of the additional revenue that can be generated by sustaining it as long as possible.
Okay. Alright, so this must be raw oil that they're extracting here. So we can electrocute the whale and then harvest the eye for Granny's recipe. And there's one butcher there.
About time for me to get a promotion. To get a saw.
I think there's another out there somewhere. Nope, there he is.
Just about done. Settle up with the watch next.
I'd rather not use them quite yet. Okay, the next thing we can do. So there's a safe here with the there's a rune inside, and the interrogation. Rothwild. The interrogation chair is set up in the meat locker and fully powered. We have run some test runs on a few of the most problematic laborers. They spill all of their secrets very quickly. They seem to die easily after about 4 treatments. She is ready for you whenever you need her. Granville, Butcher's foreman. Ames negotiations. Mr. Rothwild, my research on Abigail Ames has turned up nothing. She has no close kin that we can leverage. Looks like the plague took her sister and mother. Her father died on a whaling ship of your predecessor about 10 years ago. As far as blackmail goes, she's got no secrets I could uncover. Devout as an overseer, it seems. Not surprising, since she's rejected every blackmail offer to come her way. I don't think she's making a power play. She seems to legitimately have the best interest of the laborers in mind. As I interview the workers, it seems she really has them in thrall. They'll do whatever she says, and their belief in her is absolute. If something happens to her, as in, like, an accident or something, I expect they'll riot. I'll keep searching for an angle on her, but in the meantime I advise leaving her intact. It might even be worth considering some of her reforms. I know that doesn't suit you, but at least it would buy some time and get the workers back in here. The butchers lack the finer skills to keep this place operational. Your servant, G. So it's probably why they haven't done away with Ames quite yet. An audiograph.
What a sad song the old behemoth sings. It looks right at me when I sit here to have my nightcap. Yeah, look at me. A fly next to you, but I'm your master, ain't I? Killed 100 of your kind, and I'll kill 1,000 more before I'm done. Drain you, then feed you to my butchers. The mournful cries of the whales don't touch that lot. No, sir. They don't have hearts, I think. But by the outsider, I think I still have a small one. Shriveled and blackened as it may be. Yes, sing me a lullaby while I have another drink. Sing.
That's pretty dark. I forget the name of the voice actor, but it reminds me a lot of Powers Booth, the actor from Tombstone and Deadwood. Just a very scary sounding voice. And it's not him, but it sounds kind of like him. All right, I think that's a good place to stop. It's been over an hour. There's not a whole lot left in this mission. But there are a couple of different ways of dealing with Rothwild, so we'll stop here, and I'll do probably a short next video for the rest of the mission. All right, thanks a lot.